Word, son. What do you do, YouTube? It's your boy Jay Divine. Alright, man. Now, this is coming from a person that doesn't really play Battle Royale games like that, but when I was somewhat informed of Battle Royale, I started playing PUBG, and at first I started on PC once I finally got my PC, but, you know, I kind of dibble dabble in and out of it, you know what I'm saying, because I wasn't really that involved into Battle Royale. But I think as of December, if I'm not mistaken, December 4th or December 7th, one of those two dates or somewhere around that time, PUBG came out for the PS4. So I'm here to give you guys a review on PUBG and let you guys know whether or not it's worth it. Now I'm gonna try to be completely unbiased as possible and just give you my take as to whether or not PUBG is worth it or not. So make sure y'all sit back, chill, take a pee break, pause the video, get you some popcorn, because y'all know how I do. But alright, man, so first things first, we're going to talk about gameplay. Now, as far as gameplay wise, if you play on PC, on PC, PUBG is like, 60 frames. You can get it a little higher than that, depending on what your setup is. But on PS4, I have it on the PS4 Pro. I meant to mention that also. My review is coming from the PS4 Pro. Now, as far as the base PS4 goes, I'm not sure how that plays. But if anybody has a base PS4 and their game plays differently or plays the same, let me know in the comment section down below, or drop it in the comment section down below for anyone else who's trying to figure out how it plays on base PS4. So we're gonna keep on going. Now, the gameplay wise on the PS4 Pro, it's a steady 30 frames a second. Sometimes it may dip, maybe a little lower than that, but from what I've seen, it's just a regular 30 frames per second. Graphics wise, I wouldn't say it's 4K, but it's a high upscale 1080. You know what I mean? But for sure, the game looks pretty crisp. I would say, I wouldn't say PS2 wise, but the graphics are decent. You know what I mean? But it's a sharp 1080. Maybe it's upscaled. You know what I mean? But as far as gameplay wise, it's fairly smooth. You know what I mean? A few hiccups here and there, but there are times where sometimes maybe the interiors of the buildings might not load in all the way correctly. You know what I mean? Or they might not load in as fast as they need to versus on PC. You know what I mean? So, but as far as, gameplay wise goes, it's somewhat solid. There could be improvements, but we'll talk about that later. Movement wise, as far as it is on movement, I say you have more control on movement. And on PS4, that is, or on console just in general, you have a bit more movement, you know what I mean? Because on PC, you have more or less this, you press in one direction, you go in that one direction. It's one motion, and that's it. You either start or you stop, you know what I mean? So as far as movement goes, it's pretty smooth, you know what I mean? You can feather the left stick however you need to creep on somebody, or either you're going faster, or you need to kind of like feather the left stick so you can be able to creep around or sneak around the way that you need to do. So movement is pretty solid. Sometimes the left stick, when you press it to try to run, sometimes it takes a minute for him to gather up the momentum to start running, you know what I mean? But there are times where sometimes I'll forget that I might be running and I'm pressing it just so he'll hurry up and run, you know what I mean? But I might be already gathering up the run, and I'll press the left stick and it cancels it out, so I'll start with walking again. But like I said, we'll save that for the improvements tab. But as far as movement goes, it's solid, you know what I mean? There's some things that can be fixed and can be, maybe you can get used to it over time, but however, like I said, movement is pretty solid. The controls, there is two sets of controls. There's pretty much a customization in the options menu for the amount of sensitivity that you will want, whether it's the dead zone, the acceleration of the aiming, the turning, or whatever. And like I said, there's a type A and type B of the control scheme that you can do. Now, as far as the controls go, they're pretty decent. You know what I mean? Not even gonna lie to you, it was a little bit tough when I played my first few games of PUBG, because it was hard to try to get the mechanics down of it. You know what I mean? So I think when I first dove out of the whatchamacallit, of the plane, I dove out of the plane or whatever, and I had a hard time trying to figure out whether I should press circle to eject or hold it. You know what I mean? So I pressed circle I pressed it for the first time, and then, I held it for the first time, and then I pressed circle like the next few times after that and realized that, okay, this is how I get ejected out of the plane. So that's that. And then, let's say the controls as far as like vehicles go, they feel a bit tanky, you know what I'm saying? Tank-ish, if that's even a word. You know what I mean? Like, I find myself struggling sometimes to ride the motorcycle, you know what I mean? Because I'm trying to turn this way and it's like barely giving me any room, you know what I mean? But as far as like a car goes, as far as a car is, The car is kind of, I would say, tanky as well, tankish, you know what I mean? But like you can control it better than you can a motorcycle, you know what I mean? And the camera doesn't really necessarily stay where you need it to be, or at least on a motorcycle I've seen. I'm not sure if the camera stays behind the car, or you're able to free look amongst the car as you're riding around. But I know on a motorcycle you kind of have to constantly keep readjusting the camera as you're on the motorcycle, as you're riding, because it'll stay in one direction. But if you have it tilted in a certain direction, it won't move depending on how you know what I mean? So just do as you can with that. But the controls are pretty straightforward, you know what I mean? It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you pretty much get the controls down, you should be fine. After that, it's pretty much just you trying to figure out how to stay alive the best way you can and make it into at least the top 10 or get a chicken dinner. I haven't done that. I've come close. The closest I've gotten to number 1 is number 2. That's about closest I've gotten. And when I tell you, that was like the most nerve-wracking and heartbreaking loss I've ever had, because I knew I had this dude dead to rights. But that's for another video. Next topic is the aiming mechanics. Now the aiming mechanics, like I said, they're pretty straightforward. They pretty much go down as the same category as controls. But the aiming, I would say, you kind of gotta play with it to see. Pause. you kind of gotta play with it to see what your cup of tea is, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because by default, you have, you pretty much you aim holding the left stick, and then you tap the left trigger L2, whatever console you play on that is, but we'll just say PS4 for right now. But you hold L2 just to aim, and then you tap L2 again to aim down a sight, and that's whatever sight, whether it be an iron sight, a scope, red dot sight, holographic sight, whatever scope that is that you have on there, whatever sight it is that you have, that's how you ADS. But like I said, the aiming mechanics are pretty straightforward. You gotta tune it to your liking, and that's where it goes back to basically the controls. You go in there, you customize how you wanna, what your sensitivity is gonna be, how fast you want the acceleration to be, the dead zone of the sticks, and everything of that nature. So, but aiming mechanics are pretty straightforward. Just gotta customize it to your liking. Frame rate, like I said, it's a steady 30 frames a second. Sometimes it might dip. You know what I mean? And like I said, on PC, you have guys that are running like 60 plus frames, 120 plus frames, whatever their setup is, they're getting crazy frames. But on PS4, at least the PS4 Pro, I'm getting constant 30 frames a second. That's what I'm getting. Now, base PS4, that means like the OG regular PS4, not the Pro. I'm not sure how that plays out. Like I said, if anybody has the base PS4, drop it in the comment section down below just to help the other people out. Let me know also how exactly PUBG plays on base PS4. But on PS4 Pro, the frame rate is a steady 30. Sometimes it may dip, but otherwise it's always been just a clean 30. The next topic is maps. Now the maps are pretty, like the same on PC, the same as on Xbox, you know what I mean? The maps are pretty decent. Sometimes, like I said, the interiors don't load as fast as they need to, because you might be, coming down like a rocket off the plane, and you might come in and you go inside of a building. Like, there are times where I was to go inside of a building and the interior didn't load, and I was trying to go up some steps or go down some steps, and my guy just kept like jumping everywhere, you know what I mean? Because the game says that there's supposed to be steps, but there aren't any steps visible, you know what I mean? So so sometimes the interiors don't load, sometimes the textures might not load all the way either. But that, like I said, on the PS4 Pro, that is like maybe a little bit slim to none, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes it happens, you know what I mean? But it isn't nothing too gut-wrenching, you know what I mean? That can be part of the improvements tab, but we want to keep on going. Network. Now, I haven't experienced any lag, you know what I mean? I don't have the best, lightning quick internet on the planet, you know what I mean? But as far as the network goes, I've experienced little to no lag. This is on PS4 Pro, you know what I mean? So I've experienced little to no lag, you know what I mean? Everything's pretty much been straightforward. We don't have 20 hertz servers like some people. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what the hertz is for PUBG, but like I said, everything's pretty much 1-to-1. You don't get this thing where you go around the corner and somebody captures you. You know what I mean? Although I will say, there are times where you might not get the drop on somebody like you want to, and this reflects back to the video where I had I'll probably drop it some other time, but maybe tomorrow, I don't know. But this refers to the video where I almost won the game, but the game didn't register my button or my gunshot versus the other guy. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes that can happen, you know what I mean? But like I said, on PS4 Pro, I rarely had that experience. That was like the first experience I've had with a network problem. But most of the time, like if it starts lagging, the game will tell you that, oh, there's network lag detected, and it'll stop you. You know what I mean? But like I said, everything is pretty much smooth. You know what I mean? And keep in mind, like, you know, I was a bit skeptical at first to buy PUBG because I seen how it acted on Xbox One and the Xbox One X. I seen how it acted, and it wasn't really anything to, you know, look at. You know what I mean? It looked pretty sloppy. So when I seen how it played just off a couple of YouTube videos, and then I went and bought it myself, it was like $30, and it came with PUBG, and then it has the public, I think it's it's like it's PTS or whatever it's called, but it's like where you get to test out the new weapons that's coming into the game or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's two of them that you download. You got the PTS and then you got the regular base game. So yeah, the game is pretty smooth. You got decent connection, a good internet. You know what I mean? As far as improvements goes, like I said, the interiors could load a lot more faster than the way that they do sometimes. This is on PS4 Pro. Let me keep reminding y'all. I know y'all probably sick of me saying that, but the interiors can load a lot better. The one thing that I would say can be fixed is sometimes going in and out of doors. I feel like that should be something that can be tightened up on, because I find myself getting caught trying to open and close a door. Like I can open it in one stride, but closing it, sometimes it might not register, sometimes it might not close behind me, or you know what I mean? So sometimes I find myself getting stuck, like trying to close the door. I might be caught in a firefight, or somebody else might get caught in a firefight, and I'll kill them based off of them trying to open the door and shut it, you know what I mean? Try to get out of the way, and that can cause a death, or that can cause you to get tied up in the door, you know what I mean? So I think that could be fixed also. As far as like the jumping goes, you know, I understand that they don't have it to where you can't bunny hop around like you know, this ain't Fortnite, you know what I mean? No slug, no shade, I'm just saying, you know, you don't have to necessarily hop around and stuff like that. They're trying to make sure that, you know, bunny hopping isn't a useful tactic in PUBG, so to speak. So I would say maybe jumping around and leaping over things, the momentum system could be used a lot better. It could be worked on a little bit more better than what it is, you know what I mean? But let's see what else is there. Trying to think what else is there. Maybe the network can be tightened up a little bit. Maybe the movement. Like I said, you know, the game has its improvements that it should be improving on, but nonetheless, the game overall is pretty good. You know what I mean? So if anybody's thinking about getting PUBG, go ahead and copy. You know what I mean? You will have a lot more fun than what you think you would have. You know what I mean? You just gotta get in that mindset to just basically, you know, try to play to win. It's every man for himself, or unless you play duos or squads or whatever. But I just want to say that, you know, a lot of people that play Blackout, you know, this isn't a game where, you know, it's gonna be fast paced. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. 60 frames a second. People need to understand that this isn't gonna be 60 frames a second. If you want that, get a PC or build you a PC and get 60 frames a second, and then go ahead about your business. But other than that, I'm seeing a lot of people always criticizing PUBG on the consoles because it's not like Blackout to get 60 frames a second. And you know what I mean? It's just asinine, you know what I mean? But however, that's off on another tangent. That's another video. You know, like I said, it's worth it. So $30, you get the public test server. There we go. Public test server, and you get the base game also. You know what I'm saying, for $30, and the gameplay is pretty smooth too. Especially if you got good internet, go ahead and cop that, man. I say it's worth it. I really think it's worth it. Just a few things they should improve on, but other than that, the game is worth it. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this little review. You know what I'm saying? If you're thinking about getting PUBG, go ahead and cop that. You know what I'm saying? If not, then it's totally on you. But everybody in the comment section, if you have a base PS4, post that in the comment section down below on some things I might have missed on, or some things you want to add on to my review, because some people might not have a PS4 Pro, they just have regular base PS4. And yeah, man, I'm gonna go and get up out of here. It's your boy Jay Divine, and I'm signing out. Appreciate all the support, and I'm out. Peace.